Hi everybody, it's crazy, it's Monday, and it's time for the UPBGE video of the week. Now before I get started, gotta give a shout out to my trusted, because you guys rock, to my crazy fam. I love you guys. Now before I go any further, I wanted to give a special shout out to all those folks with autism. I'm a proud supporter. I'm also a father and grandfather of autistic children. So if you don't know anything about it, go check it out, find out what autism's about, and hey, say hi to an autistic one day. Alright, so last week we left off with, so I can get it to go right. We left off the little car. We added added the programming for the wheels and all that, and then we got it to go back and forth. Okay, this week we ended last week we ended chapter 6, and now we are up to, let me see if I can get it right. Yes, we are up to chapter number 7, and I'm just gonna read from the book, and we'll go from there. I'm not going to go too far into it today because I've got a lot of things we got to get done tomorrow. So I'm kind of going to make this video a little bit short because, life takes precedence. So let's get started. All right, so chapter 7, Python scripting. Oh, cringe. I know, Python scripting. Oh. Yeah, okay. Now, it's not as bad as what you think, okay? So let's read on, and you don't have to use it. It's just another tool in your toolbox, okay? It's something that you can use if you want to, but learning about it isn't that hard, okay? So congratulations, you finally arrived at one of the most technical parts of the book. Keep in mind, in case you get lost. The Blender game engine was once famous for letting you create a full game without touching a single piece of code. Although this may sound attractive, it also leads to a very limited game making experience. Logic bricks, as presented in chapter 3, are very handy for quick prototyping. However, once you need to access advanced resources, external libraries and devices, or simply optimize your application, a programming language becomes your best friend. Through the use of a scripting language called Python, and if you don't know about Python, I'll put it in the description. I'll probably put it up here somewhere. Somewhere up here, you'll see it pop up, and it'll let you know where I did my Python learned experience, and you can go back to that and look at that, okay? The game engine, as Blender itself, is a fully extensible, okay? This programming language is easy to learn. Although extremely powerful, be aware, though, that you will not find a complete guide to learning Python here. Okay, so in this book you won't. I will also put some links in the description if you'd like to learn some Python. I can give you some good points too on books you can get and information you can get on learning Python. Okay, I like Python. It's one of the favorite ones. There are plenty of resources online and offline that will serve you better. However, even if you are not inclined to study Python deeply now, sooner or later you will find yourself struggling with script files. So it's important to know what you are dealing with, okay? Like I said, in that toolbox, okay? Yes, you can. For those experienced Python programmers, or for those catching up with the reference learning material, always remember, if you can do something with Python, chances are you can do it in the game engine. Okay, so in the older versions of Blender, you can actually do all kinds. You can make scripts. You can make all kinds of things for not just games, but for your textures, for your backgrounds, for animations. I mean, there's a plethora of things you can use Python for. Okay, it's not just for just the game engine itself. A lot of animators use Python scripting, or computer language scripting. Okay. After a brief overview in the Python basics, we will explain how to apply your knowledge of Python inside the game engine. You'll also learn how to access the Python methods, properties, and objects you will be using, okay? It's not an in-depth thing. You're not going to be like diving like super, like 5 books deep in, okay? If you want that, the Python learned experience is one of the ones that you'll look into, and you'll see that how I struggle through just one book. Okay, so why scripting when you can logic brick it? We can compare logic bricks with real bricks. On the one hand, we have strong elements on which to build our system. But on the other hand, we have a system as flexible as a blind wall. Okay, so basically, same thing as a brick wall. When you build it up, it's all you've got. You can't really adjust it around. You can't move it. You can't play with it. You can't tweak it. You don't get it. You don't get that much with them. You can do a lot with them, but there are ways to do it. There are many occasions when the same effect can be achieved in different ways. Different phases of the production may also require varied workflows. The reason for picking a particular method is often personal. Nevertheless, we present here a few arguments that may convince you to crack a good Python book and start learning more about it. Sane replacement for large-scale logic bricked objects. Okay, y'all have experienced that. I'm gonna scroll down here. Y'all have experienced that before, haven't you? Yes. Okay, that is a nightmare to go through, and if you haven't experienced that, you will. Okay, better handling of multiple objects, access to Blender's advanced features, use features that are not part of Blender. Okay, because Python is a programming language all its own. You can use other stuff besides just Blender. Okay, what they call Blender Python or BPy, okay, or BPython. Okay, a lot of times those are just what's made for Blender. You can actually branch off from that and actually go full Python. I will also put in my link below, if I can remember, to introduce you to Pygame if you're interested. It's a 2D game engine using nothing but Python. If you're interested in that, drop me a thing in the comments, and I'll actually send you the link to their Discord server, and you can actually go there or go to their site. Okay? All right, so keep track of your changes with a version control system. Debug your game while it runs. You can't do that with Logic Brick. Logic Brick, the necessary good. You can't ever get away from logic bricks, even when using Python exclusively for your game. You will need to invoke the scripts from a Python controller. The idea is to find the balance that fits your project. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back over to here real quick. And what they're meaning by that is you're going to go to this controller, okay? All right, and you're going to add a controller. And you're going to add a Python controller. That's this right here. You can either do a script or you can do a module. If you know anything about Python, modules are anything that has a def, okay, which is basically just describing, okay, what that particular part of the program is doing. You can put that in as a module. You can also use classes as well to use as modules. Okay. Once you learn a little bit more about Python, if you want to learn a little bit more about Python, you'll find this little controller right here is very, very helpful. Okay. Like right now, I can run this README script, which is this right here. Okay. I can have it run that README script, and it will do this. Okay, automatically. All right, but I don't want to do that because, yeah, it'll just mess up the program. Okay, so that's what it means by using. You're going to have to use a Python controller. Even if you have your own Python scripts, you have everything done in Python, you're going to have to get it to run with Blender, and that means you're going to have to put it in here like with an always or a trigger. Okay, a lot of people like to use like step motion with Python scripting that will switch between two different animations. That makes it a lot more smoother. Okay, there's a bunch of things you can do with Python that doesn't just limit you to the logic sensors, logic bricks with the sensors and the actuators. These are just basics for getting a small game going. Okay. All right, so sane replacement for large-scale logic brick objects. It's always good to have an excuse to show an image in a programming chapter. And here it is. In figure 7-1, you will see logic brick for Frankie, the main character of the open the open game Yo Frankie. And that's that one I just showed you, and I will flip back over here to you so you can see it. That's a lot of logic bricks, and that's just, I mean, that's a lot. And it doesn't even go all the way down. Well, it goes all the way down to the bottom here, but they have a lot more of these. You have to have a whole bunch of game properties, whole bunch of logic bricks in here just for one character. And that's if you can keep up with all of it. Okay? All right, so this system is well organized. Different actions belong to different states and sensors. Controllers and actuators are properly named. Nevertheless, it's not hard to lose yourself trying to understand which sensor connects to which controller. One of the reasons for such a complex project to rely on logic bricks is because Yo Frankie serves as a didactic project for artists wanting to start with a game engine. Anyone with a little programming experience can take the files and expand the game freely. Have you tried yet? Okay, I'm pretty sure if you go to the UPBGE Discord server or come to my server, I guarantee you if you ask somebody for a Python program that'll run in Blender that can actually make your character do this or make something do this or make something do that, I'm pretty sure somebody can get you that type of file or will refer you to somebody who can. Okay, Blueprint Random is a very good friend of mine. I've known him for a while. Actually tried to learn from him a bit. He will give you code and you tell him what you want, he'll make it up for you. Okay, so I mean he's a really great guy. He's over there at the FPGE server. Okay. All right. So, however, you often aim for performance and workflow. Having everything centralized in a single script file can save you a lot of time. Okay. Another important aspect while working is to document your project. It's easy to open a file only a few months old and find yourself completely lost. Done that. Script files, on the other hand, are naturally structured to be self-documented. To document logic bricks, you need to rely on text files inside or outside your Blender files and neat image diagrams. It's definitely not as handy as inline comments along your code. Code diagrams can still be useful, but that's a different topic. Okay, for the artist behind the programmer facade, please resist to the temptation to create ASCII art while documenting your scripts. Okay, a lot of people did that way back in the day. They put a rocket ship up here, it looks like, or no, they did Blender. That's what they did. Let me bring that out so you can see the whole one. Yeah. Okay. So they made a Blender with a ASCII code. Okay. Basically dashes, dots, you name it. Okay. Now next week we're going to go ahead and end it off here because that goes into a bigger topic. So we'll leave off here. Let me switch. Okay, and we'll leave off here with better handling of multiple objects. That is page 6, okay? So next week we'll start off with page 6, and it's towards the bottom of the page, or actually it's right at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we'll start with that next week. Till next week.